As a matter of fact, when I told my parents, or rather my grandparents and my mom and them, yeah, I want to DJ. Yeah, oh, it's over with. he's not going to be shit. When I was coming up, my father was a record pool director, one. And so I grew up around 12 inches and things of that nature. Didn't know what the hell it was at the time. Just, my father had dope jams and I was around guys that were collecting music. And I was more into being a musician. I wanted to play drums. As a kid, when you're a kid, you don't dream of being a DJ at this time in the 70s or whatever. You dream about being a fucking musician, drums and rock and roll star, fuck it, whatever, You don't think about, I want to be a DJ. That was unheard of. Like now it's a profession. Before it was like if you were a DJ, you were either on the radio or in somebody's fucking lounge or some shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It wasn't glorified. As a matter of fact, when I told my parents, or rather my grandparents and my mom and them, yeah, I want to DJ. Yeah, oh, it's over with. He's not going to be shit. You know what I mean? It was a lot of studying, a lot of astute studying, a lot of conversation. I used to have written lists, record lists that I used to go, and reference. Yeah, I got that. I don't have that. And then, I had older cousins. One of them being Lee Collins, who's a kind of popular DJ, plays with Sada. But Lee Collins actually, let me just give him, tip my hat to him. Lee Collins was probably one of the premier DJs when I was coming up. Had a dope radio show. One of the only people to play at the Music Box. And was an avid record collector. Hung around him, hung around older guys. They used to call me Goofy. Well, you don't know shit. You don't know nothing. And you hear that enough, you're like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna show you. And the same guys now, I showed him everything he knows. That's what I get now. But anyway, bottom line is you study, you study, you study. I think, I don't want to diss, I like Discogs too. It's got its place, it's cool, I like it. I go in there, oh yeah, it's easy for me. I don't have to get on my knees, I don't have to tear up my back and shit. But things are easier for people now. And that's cool, but I think it's made for a lazier person too. If you ask me on an honest day, I'll tell you. Yeah, it's made for a lazier person. Back in my time, was associated with being gay. Okay, I happen to be a heterosexual male. I love women. That's my thing. I have little girls. I have 3 children. Okay, that's what I'm into. But because of the music that I was associated with, that might have meant me having to get into a fight just to walk down the fucking street. Just because of what I had on. Just because of what I was into. Because what we wore was kind of like a uniform for, I'm into house music and kind of thing, And growing up in the African American community, it's not like, you're looking at, oh, that's one of them fags, or that's one of them da-da-da-da. And they would literally try to attack you. You would have to be able to either be street affiliated or you have to be able to fucking box. Simple and plain, right? And that's why you see like some of the guys like me or even some people from Chicago, we're a little edgy. Because we had to kind of deal with gangster shit all the time. All the time. So at a flip of the switch, you're ready, and it's sad that it had to be that way, but that's what it was. So, and people have a tendency to be, how can I say, want to fight things that they don't understand. And so the bottom line is we had to fight to want to be into this music. We had to search. We had to do all these things that led to us being where we are today. And that's why we feel so strong and militant about it, because we had to really give up part of our lives to a certain degree. It wasn't as easy as like, oh, this is great music, and oh, my friends do it, and I do it, and I listen to it. No, it wasn't like that. It was like more like, yeah, I listen to house music. Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, you know, I mean, you gotta seriously figure out who you're around. Like my brother Terry Hunter, who I came up with, he's a little bit more edgier than me. And I say that he was a little bit more gangster in a lot of ways. I grew up with gangsters, for real. I grew up in those neighborhoods. I grew up in what they call the Wild Hundreds. Okay, and I'm saying this to say that it was no joke. Like, you kind of had to really know streets. You had to know where to go, because it could mean your life, or it could mean that you get robbed or get beat up. Now, not to say that that's a healthy situation, but what it did is it trained you to be able to survive in different situations, and also appreciate and have a sense of who you are, right? So this music represents that, and this was the soundtrack. House music was a soundtrack for that. It helped us keep going, you know, and the affinity of being somewhere else and this kind of thing. So this was like a healing music to a certain degree. And unfortunately, some of the gay community that was at the beginnings of, say, house music warehouse, they're not with us anymore. They died from AIDS, you know? And so, say around 85, 86, when Ron Hardy came on the scene, he had been around before, but they had started doing a mixture of a heterosexual and bisexual and homosexual party, which was the Music Box. So now you have a younger, feverish audience getting involved. And believe it or not, that place converted people that were gangsters into people that were househeads. Facts. I would have to say that reference material is always good. I have a lot of books. I have a lot of movies. I collect a lot of movies. People that know me, I collect a lot of movies. I have different TV shows. Don't laugh at me, but I like Miami Vice. Okay? Which I talk about all the time in my interviews, because I get ideas from it. Why? Because of the time, because of the fashion, because of the way it was shot, all kinds of stuff. I have movies that I like. So if I get like kind of stuck, I kind of go to certain things, right? Sometimes it might even be stepping outside of your house for just a second and listening to somebody else, going to see a movie, going to check other things, you know. But everybody's built different, so I don't really know. For me, that's what works. You know, it really depends on the room and the people, to be honest with you. And what I mean by that is that there's certain rooms where you can tell, if you've been doing this craft long enough, you can tell where the educational level is, right? You can kind of look and you're like, okay, yeah, they're not very educated about music. Or you can go into a room, you can feel it. You're like, oh yeah, these people are ready. They know. If they don't know, they're ready to know. There's a difference, right?
Yeah.
And you know, that's why it's important to have the right people in the room to deliver the right message. Sometimes you can't do the same thing the same way all the time. It just doesn't work like that. You know, I'm gonna play my set. That's why I don't understand. Like, I've been one to set up my set sometimes. Like, and like, this is the story I'm gonna tell, and I have options of where I want to go, but I don't understand somebody like actually pre-recording this set. This is something that happens nowadays. I don't get it. Like, it's happening right now. Like, literally pre-recorded. Goddamn CD playing, or the drive is playing, and beating the hell out of you or whatever's going on, and standing there, yeah, arts. Let me stand on the fucking table. Who the fuck has time to do that? I did the track right after I, was in a virtual wake for a friend, and it was called In the Summer We Were Young. It's about a guy who I grew up with, who was at my very first DJ gig, and we knew each other, you know, throughout childhood, and his brother died of cancer, you know, and who knew, you know, but he was always the life of the party and all that kind of stuff, and we, you know, we had a lot of great times together. So it was, once again, it was one of those, you know, kind of moments where it's like, wow, you know, value life, you know, value life. And so I thought about, you know, us being young again, and I wrote that track, you know. So it's all a part of my life processes, what that is. So you're getting a piece of me, but hopefully you can find pieces of yourselves in this album.
Able to be around your friends and enjoy music or whatever you were doing, you know, you start to really appreciate that. You start to appreciate life again in a different way, because we take it for granted. We really do. And I think if anything, the pandemic showed us, like, you know, I don't believe, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not one to believe that, you don't never know what's gonna happen to you. You could die any moment. No, I know differently. I don't live like that. But you should value your steps. You should value your walk, what you're doing every day, and think about the future, and think about your destiny. And if anything, that's what the pandemic did. That's the lighter side of it. But we're here, and we carry on. We carry on.